If you're trying to figure out how to make a delicious rack of lamb, this is the video for you. Hey guys, I am Steve from Cookout Coach. We're all about trying to help you take your barbecue to the next level, no matter what you need. Today what we're going to be talking about is an Easter classic, that is a rack of lamb. Rack of lamb is one of those really cool cuts because when you think about it, it's essentially lamb prime rib, right? This is the same cut that on a cow you would get your prime rib from, you'd get your rib eyes from, all the great things, except for these come in a much smaller package and they're much more affordable. Today how we're going to prepare this is with a Bourbon Dijon mustard glaze, so let's get into it. We're going to start today by preparing our glaze, and the full ingredients for it and measurements will be in the description below. But to start with, we're going to start with roughly 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, about 1 tablespoon of rosemary, another tablespoon of thyme, 1 tablespoon of Char-Griller steak rub, 1 tablespoon of bourbon. You can use whatever you like here. If you don't like cooking with alcohol, you can omit this all together and you'll be absolutely fine. We're going to add in 1/2 tablespoon of agave nectar for just a little sweetness. And then finally just 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil to help bring it all together. We're going to stir our mixture up and get it in a cool place where those flavors can all come together. Now to prepare our lamb, all we're going to do is take it out of our cryovac, and there's really not much we need to do. If you've got a really thick fat layer on the back, I like to take it down some. One of my racks I'm going to go ahead and do that on, but really you don't have to worry about it, just pat it dry. And I'm going to season it up with the Char-Griller steak rub. We need to remember that lamb is a red meat, so the savory notes in this Char-Griller steak rub are going to accent it perfectly. Once we have our racks all covered, we're going to go ahead and let them sweat for a little bit while we bring our cooker up. And today what we're going to be using is the Char-Griller Akorn. We're going to do this cook today in sort of a 2-stage cook. For the first stage, we're going to light a full chimney and set our akorn up to sear. And I want those temperatures to be somewhere between 450 and 500 degrees. I don't want to go too hot with it because you're going to see in a little bit we're going to bring it back down. With our akorn ready for these searing temperatures, we're just going to go ahead and get this rack of lamb on. And we're just trying to make a nice crust on the outside. We're not worried about cooking these all the way through right now. We just want to crust the outside. After about 2 minutes, we'll go ahead and flip to the other side. And finally, right before we take it off, we're going to try to hit these ends a little bit. Once you're happy with your crust, go ahead and get them off. And we're now going to go ahead and remove our grate from our akorn and put in our smoking stone to make this an indirect heat. Adjust your vents on your akorn. Try to get it down below 400. Don't get too hung up on it, but I like about 375 for the second part. Now, if you're not using a Kamado or an akorn, you can do this a number of other ways, including using multiple grill setups, or you can just use your oven to finish this off if you want to. But our akorn gives us the options. We're absolutely going to do it like this. While our akorn's temps are cooling down, while that grate is cooling down with that smoking stone under it, we're going to go ahead and cover these racks of lamb with our Bourbon Dijon mustard mixture. You'll see a lot of people will do this first in a similar type of recipe. The reason I seared first and I'm adding this now is because a lot of times when you do that, you lose a lot of the mixture on the grates when you're searing. This way, they'll stay and they'll sort of bake over the rack of lamb and keep those flavors through the whole cook. Once you've got those temperatures somewhere around 375, go ahead and get these racks back on, insert a temperature probe, and now we just wait for them to hit 125 internal temperature. Okay guys, so here we are. Our rack of lamb hit 125 internal. I pulled it off. It's been resting for about 10 minutes. Before we cut into this, and I'm really excited to, real quick what we did, we set up our Kamado for some searing at about 450 degrees. In the meantime, we whipped up our Bourbon Dijon mustard glaze, let it chill. We got our rack of lamb out, hit it with a little Char-Griller steak rub. We got it on the Kamado and seared the crust on the outside. Not really worried about cooking it, but we got that crust established. Went ahead and took it off, set up our akorn for Indirect with the smoking stone, brought it down to about 375 degrees. Brushed our glaze on all of our rack of lamb so that all that flavor would sit there and get to bake onto it. Put it back on the Kamado, waited for each rack to come up to 125 internal, got them off and let them rest. All right, let's dig into this and see what it's like. All right, here we go. Wow. That's absolutely fantastic. As someone who doesn't eat lamb a lot, man, that's good. I think a lot of people, if they don't eat lamb a lot, wouldn't know that you weren't feeding them some extra tender beef. This is absolutely excellent recipe. I hope you try it out, and if you do, let me know and let me know how it comes out. But hey, Till next time, y'all take it easy.